Don, I've still another
Sure,
question for you.
go for it.
Can I go? In your book, I think you are talking about the hidden curriculum.
Yes.
And if I've understood it correctly, you don't conceptualize the hidden curriculum like I normally heard it.
hmm
Normally, I understood it. The hidden curriculum is something like people are not telling you what they actually want
hmm
with the school, but they have some hidden ideas what they want to achieve, or maybe they are not even conscious about it.
hmm
Maybe nobody is even conscious about it, but there's something going on, and there's, for example, the mainstream capitalism is
Right.
always sneaking in the curriculum.
Yeah.
That was my understanding, more or less. And then I read your book, and if I've understood it correctly, you are saying that the hidden curriculum is there no matter what. If you
Yep.
have a group, if you have a democratic school, you will have a hidden curriculum, and therefore you need to manage it. Is it
Yes,
true?
that's right.
Yeah, and it's exactly what I was talking about right now about child protection and this stuff. We have a lot of different processes going on in our democratic school,
hmm
um, and some of them are not healthy, and they are not necessarily all child protective issues. There are
Right.
some other stuff going on within the staff. And the idea that you need to manage the hidden curriculum, I think it's great. I
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it's there's a couple of different ways that hidden curriculum is often talked about. Um, Particularly the more of what you're putting at is more in the social justice conversation, sort of the underlying racism, the underlying capitalism, the underlying sort of institutional dominance narrative. But there's also in the autistic neurodivergence community, there's another way of thinking about the hidden curriculum because it's the implicit social cues and implicit ways of being that particularly people with autism have trouble picking up, or certain aspects of autism. And so part of what I'm doing is saying both of those are correct in in their analysis. But what I'm doing is I'm saying that like in the autistic community, there's these books and things that say revealing the hidden curriculum and all these things. And what I'm saying is in contrast to that, I'm saying you cannot reveal a hidden curriculum, the totality of the hidden curriculum. There's aspects, like the capitalism and the racism and things like that. You can have an analysis and go down that road and say, okay, here we can identify how someone's being disadvantaged systematically because of certain assumptions, and you can surface it. But I think the bigger point that I'm making is that because of the way policies and brains interact, there's always a hidden curriculum. You can't have no choice about that. And there's a number of ways to explain that. One is words can never capture reality. And so anything you put in policy is going to be inadequate to describe the reality of how it actually operates, especially when you have a lot of people involved. So in that way, you'll never not have a hidden curriculum. Hidden in the sense not that there's an agenda, but just that brains and policies interact in unpredictable ways sometimes. Policies are an effort to take control of how brains interact with each other, but they don't always succeed. And so you have well-intended policies that have completely
Yeah,
diametrically opposed effects according to what their intention
yeah,
was.
yeah,
But you can
yeah.
also have policies that have unintended positive effects that they didn't realize was going to happen because of the hiddenness. And the hiddenness is just the same reason your brain is hidden from us. I can't see your brain. I can see your forehead, but I can't see your brain. And I have no idea, even if I did see your brain, there's no clue as to how it's actually working, even if I see it. And that's why, so there's aspects of this that are just recognizing, oh, hiddenness is an inherent property of people interacting. So how then do you proceed if that's true? And so it's partly about having the humility as policymakers, as people managing other people, having the humility to say, oh, okay, I don't really know. Here's what I intend. And if I don't set out feedback about here's how it fails and here's how it succeeds and data to show, how do I know this is happening? Then, oh, okay. And then if you see something completely different, then you have to evaluate, is that a good thing or a bad thing? But just the fact that you can set a policy, our US federal administration right now is a great example of just utter ignorant, blind policymaking with no concept of figuring out whether it's good or bad or indifferent or even articulating what the intended outcomes are that you could then figure out whether it's working or not. They're just blanket setting policy and doing crazy things. Well, from my perspective, predictably crazy making things. Um, and it's like, well, of course you're going to get cops being, you know, agents of the government being irresponsible and going overboard and killing people or doing other horrible things to them when you have that kind of policy. Like you're not even setting up the parameters to be considered or careful or caring. You're just setting up. I mean, the people who set these policies admit to the being cruel is part of their plan. And it's like, wow, okay. Um, so anyway, that's the opposite. That's the hubris of policy making at its worst.
Mm.
And what I'm pointing at is if a hidden curriculum is inevitable, you need to be thinking about who you elect into positions and how you organize the structure of that governance process to say what's required in order to be responsible, respectful, and actually get the intended outcomes. I don't care whether you're conservative or liberal or whatever. Every policymaker needs to be thinking about what is the intention and how do I know it's succeeding or not, and when do we pull the plug on it? And there should be a mechanism for repealing a policy as much as there is for implementing it. And that's actually, I don't think there's very few governance of any kind that says we should be able to pull a policy if we decide it's not working. Um, so anyway, but yes, so hidden curriculum is inevitable. Uh, and it's more than the social problematic social justice narrative. It's more than the problematic neurodivergence narrative. It's actually so fundamental that you need to manage it. And that's where the self-determination theory as a technical discourse says, oh, we can know we're succeeding if needs are being satisfied. And one of the what this presentation was about was to say, oh, and one of the ways we know it's working with children is that they are playful. And one of the ways we know it's working with adults is they are professional. And so if you then get unprofessional behavior, if you get the opposite of playful behavior, which is shut down or non-participant, then you know something's off. And part of the bigger, it's not in this particular piece, but part of what the bigger agenda is, we need to embed those measures of those things like need satisfaction, patterns of motivation, and how engagement is in the data for schools, and especially democratic schools, because they're the ones I think my own data show that the democratic schools I studied are doing it right or doing it successfully. But I can't make a larger case if there's not data on it.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge. So you're right to point out that I do think of it differently and more broadly than is typical in most conversations.